Good evening, everyone. I'm Srijana Khaling, Assistant Professor, Department of Sociology, Sikkim Government College, Burtuk, and I'm here to give a short lecture on culture. So let's start with the definition of culture. I have taken up the three definitions. So first one is very famous according to E.V. Tyler. Culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. Next, according to Ralph Linton, the culture of the society is the way of life of its members, the collection of ideas and habits that they learn, share, and transmit from generation to generation. And lastly, according to Malinowski, culture is the handiwork of man and the medium through which he achieves his ends. So, culture is a part of our society. Each and every individual's culture vary from one society to another. Individuals' culture vary from one society to another, and it transmits from one generation to another. It is shared ways of knowledge. Even if an individual dies, but culture remains because we learn from our elders and we teach the same thing to our youngsters. This process is never ending process. That's why culture remains even if an individual dies. So let's move on to the next slide, that is concept of culture. First one is learned ways of behavior. So examples are hunger and sexual urge. These are our biological needs. Nobody teaches us to be hungry. Okay? It is our biological needs. Sexual urge is a biological need. Nobody teaches us, but it is inborn in nature. We learn. This is the learned ways of behavior. Another is culture also influence everyday life of the people. For example, eating habits. Each and every individuals has their own eating habits. For instance, in the South Indian, for instance, in among the South Indian people, they eat in the banana leaf. So that is the part of their culture. Among the Nepali society, they eat in the copper plates. That is their part of their culture. Now, how their culture is influencing their everyday life. For instance, in marriages, bride in Hindu, among Hindu, bride often wears red sari, and among Christian marriages, bride wears white gown. So that is also culture is influencing their everyday life. For instance, like take an example of the practices like dowry. Though dowry is a malpractice now, yet dowry is also a part of their culture. Though it is a malpractice, yet they practice it. Though they may not take it in a huge monetary value, yet they will take it as a small gift. Okay, so that is also a part of their culture. Another is it is shared and transmitted from one generation to another, which I have already discussed. It is transmitted from one generation to another and it is shared. Culture is symbolic. For example, a national flag, it depicts our nation, a cross in Christianity. Another is gesture and language. Gesture and language, it may vary from one society to another. For example, nodding head up and down is yes in India but no in Turkey. So all these gestures also vary from one society to another. Let's move on to the next slide, that is elements of culture. Material culture and non-material culture. Material culture are the one which we can see, which we can touch, and which we can feel. And non-material culture are the one which we cannot see, which we cannot feel, and which we cannot touch. I out here I have just written it in opposite way. My mistake. Actually, tools, technologies, fashion, jewelries, and buildings is supposed to be under the material culture, and beliefs, norms, values, language, more sanction, and flockways are supposed to be under the non-material culture. Now, tools, technologies, fashion, jewelries, buildings, you can you can see these non-material cultures has been changing very in a very fast manner. And out here we can also discuss about the cultural lag. Now, what is cultural lag? That is, you know the the gap between the material culture and non-material culture, because we can see the social change that is taking place in the non-material culture is it is growing in a very fast manner. We can see how we have moved on from the bullock carts to the aeroplanes, okay, or the vehicles, or we can see how we have moved on from radios to televisions to computers to internet to mobile phones and smartwatches. Whereas if we see the material cultures, the belief systems, okay, or the moors or flockways, it is it is we cannot say it has not changed. It is changing, but it is changing in a very slow manner. Okay, so we can see the cultural lag in between. It is not changing in the same manner as how the non-material is changing, non-material culture is changing. So here we can see the cultural lag between the non-material culture and the material culture. So another is ideal culture and real culture. Now, ideal culture. Ideal means what? Ideal means an ideal type. Okay, how we expect anything to be. Likewise, out here also culture. Ideal culture is an ideal one. How society or societal norms expect an individuals, you know, to act in a way, or it is a culture, it is the culture people think they have, as it is mandated by societal norms and expectations. Okay, because society prescribes particular norm for the society, and it is ideal for the society. Okay, because norm is something good for the society, and it is meant ideally for the society. But what is real culture? It is the culture people actually have. Now, what people actually do in reality, that is real culture. Okay, so what is ideal culture? That is expectation, and reality is what actually people do in reality. So, that is real culture. So, let's move on to the next slide, that is components of culture. First one is beliefs. It is an ideal of or statement about reality which people accept as true. It is based on their experiences in the past, scientific evidences, religious faith, or public opinion. It may vary and change over time. Obviously, it belief system, it will vary from an individual to another. It may be based on their experiences, in what experiences they may have in the past, or they may have some kind of scientific evidences also, or they have some kind of religious faith in them. So that is their their individual opinion. So it is their belief system. So that is belief system. Another is values. Values are shared agreement among members of the society as to what is desirable and undesirable in the society. Okay, what society values in the what is what society values, what is desirable for the society and what is undesirable for the society, that is value. Now language, it is an element of symbolic culture. It is actually a vehicle, where an individual interact with one another. So it is an element of symbolic culture. It expresses and preserves the heritage. Obviously without language, culture can't exist. Okay, so language is one of the important vehicle where culture survives. Symbols, it refers to anything that carries a particular meaning recognized by people who share a culture. Since I've already told you symbols, there are numerous symbols, like examples I've already given, Om. For instance, another example I can give you is Om depicts, again, Hindu culture, like cross in Christianity. So they have some kind of sacred, symbolic meaning to it. Okay, so those are the symbols. Now let's move on to the next slide, that is norms. Norms are the established standards of social behavior which individuals in a group are expected to follow. Now each and every individual are expected to follow these norms. Okay, if an individual fails to follow these norms, they are termed as deviants, obviously. So what are those norms? What are the types of norms? Let's see. Prescriptive norms and prospective norms. Prescriptive norms are what people should do, and prospectives are what people should not do. Okay, so obviously society prescribes certain norms what they should do, and prescriptive norms are what they shouldn't be doing. Okay, so there may be many, formal and informal kind of norms what people should do and shouldn't do. Explicit norms and implicit norms. Norms which are stated formally, since I've already told you, and norms which are stated informally. Okay, certain norms are stated formally, which are very strict in manner. Okay, at times it is punishable as well, and some norms are stated informally. Okay, likewise informally, you are informally you are said to be, like for instance, you have to respect your teachers, parents. These all are norms. Okay, it is informally stated to you. Nobody will, even if you won't go and wish your teacher, nobody is going to give you punishment, yet it is an implicit norms. But explicit norms are stated formally. If you will go and do something, uh, bad to the society, for instance, if you will go and murder somebody, that will be something, of that will be stated formally to you. If you will do this, there will be some kind of punishment. Okay, so ideal norms and real norms. Now again the same thing, ideal norms are high standard requiring strict conformity. Okay, like honesty is the best policy, obviously. Okay, everybody says that honesty is best policy, but in real norms, okay, reflect standards of behavior is real situation. But in real situation, everybody, in real situation, everyone cannot be honest. Okay, though everybody knows that honesty is best policy, yet at times the situation might come that they may not apply to this, particular thing. They may not be honest enough. They may, go deviant. So this is the real norms. So let's move on to the next slide, that is the last one, classification of norms. Flockways. Flockways are the appropriate ways to do things. They are informal rules. Now, these are informal rules. Likewise, I've told you. Okay. Likewise, how we do things in our everyday life, like brushing our teeth. Okay. Washing our face and cleaning up. Okay, so these are the appropriate ways to do things. Okay, these we do because we are influenced by our culture. Okay, we do these things in our everyday life. Nobody will give us punishment if we don't do so. Okay, but if we don't clean up, if we don't brush our teeth, if we'll if we won't clean ourselves, then nobody is going to punish us, but everybody is going to make fun of us. So out of that fear also, we will tend to do so. Okay, so that is an informal, they are informal rules. These are the flock ways. Okay, we do certain things in an appropriate do certain things in an appropriate ways. Okay, the way it has to be done. For instance, when we are going to somebody's funeral, we are not going to enjoy or dance over there. We are going to mourn over there because we are supposed to do so. If we don't do so, then society is going to outcast us, because that is the way how we are supposed to do, how we are how we are supposed to behave. So that is our flock ways. Okay, mores. It is embedded in the system of morality shared by the members of social group. Some may be enforced by the government, but others are not. Okay, so now mores are more formal rules than flockways. Okay, some mores are, we cannot say mores are laws, but it is more formal than flockways. Okay, uh, like it is embedded in system of morality. Okay, now it is more of the rules that is based on the religion, we may say. Okay, some are enforced by the government, but others are not, they are saying. Okay, only few are enforced by the government, but others are not, but it is enforced by the morality. They are saying it is enforced by the morality again. Okay, for instance, like there are certain restrictions in food habits, like food habits in some religion. Okay, that is mores. You cannot eat beef in Hindu religion. That is mores. Okay, or taking certain food in under certain religion, so that is mores. Okay, so that is mores. Now another is laws, are the rules formally established by state or the other organized. Now this is formally done. Okay, now if an individual go deviant, they don't follow certain norms, they go deviant. Okay, totally deviant. If an individual murders somebody or rapes somebody, or or does some kind of crime, then there is law to look after it. Okay, there are certain sections who under and in under which criminals are booked. So these are the laws. Sanctions are the means by which a society enforce its norms. Okay, now sanctions are of two types. One is conformity, another is negative sanction. Conformity is the positive one, another is negative, is the punishment. Okay, now positive is conformity, means when an individual, because society not only believes in the punishment, they also believe in conformity, because in order to uh, you know bring a balance in the society, to bring equilibrium in the society. Okay, they follow this sanction. They see that if an individual is doing something good for the society, if an individual has a great contribution towards the society, then an individual should be rewarded for that. Okay, why? Because an in because others may be influenced by that individual. Okay, and that's why most of the people who has a huge contribution towards society they are with awarded with you know Nobel prizes. Okay, why? Because people will be influenced by their work, and they also would like to do the same thing in future. Okay, and negative sanction are the one, again the same thing applies over here. If an individual go deviant, okay, they will be severely punished likewise, and others will see, and you know and they will see them getting punished. Okay, and they'll realize that, oh, if an individual will do such kind of things, or if we will also go deviant, then we will also be punished in the same manner. So this is the way how society is balancing. So this is sanction. So with this, I'm going to end my short video on culture. Thank you so much.